Good morning, all of you. So our today's topic is about the next chapter, that is 22nd chapter, that is about processes and threads. Okay, so we know what is a class, we know what is an object, we know what is active class, we know what is active object. Okay, so either we say about active object. So active objects are nothing but the objects which are currently under execution. So such things we call it as active objects, and the classes which are possessing active objects are called active classes. Okay, so today we are going to learn about a process and a thread. So whenever we say a program is under execution, so that we call it as a process. Okay, and a process may have number of threads. A process may have number of threads. So these things here, if you see, active objects, process, multiple flow of controls, inter-process communication, thread safe, abstraction. So these are the topics what we are going to learn under this. So let's go in detail about each one. So active class. So just now I was telling you active class, the class which is having active objects, and how it is represented just like a class, and the borders are bold, and we can write the name, attributes, operations, and fourth compartment is for, you have for responsibilities, you have for exceptions, you have for signals. Okay, so this is how we are going to show about active class. Okay, so active class is the class which will be having processes and threads. Okay, so then moving on to the first part of today's chapter, that is about terminology and concepts. So what are the different terminology here with respect to processes and threads? So we were talking about active object. Okay, it's nothing but which owns a process or thread, and that can initiate the flow control, which exactly is starting the process and which is under execution for some purpose to be achieved. So here we are studying about what's the difference between a process and a thread. A process is a heavy weighted flow. See, these definitions you might have already studied in operating system. Okay, process is a heavy weighted flow that can execute concurrently with other processes. Why a process is called heavy weighted flow? Because a process can have number of threads in that, whereas thread is nothing but a part of process. So that's why a thread is said as light weighted flow that can execute concurrently with other threads within the same process. So in a process you will have number of threads. Okay, so that's how we differentiate or distinguish between a process and a thread. Process, heavy weighted flow, concurrently executed with other processes. This is for other processes. Whereas thread, light weighted flow within the same process. So please try to understand. This is the other process and this is within the process. Okay, and graphically how we are going to give? So active class is rendered as a rectangle with thick lines. Yeah, that's what just now we have seen here. Okay, so how exactly processes and threads are shown in UML? So graphically these are the ones which can be shown as just like active classes, but we give a stereotype as whether it is a process or whether it is a thread. Okay, so here when we are giving like this, so above this we just say with the stereotype. So stereotype is nothing but the double braces what we use within the guillemets, and then we are going to write. Okay, so the next one, the first one under terms is nothing but flow control. Flow control. So what exactly when a process is under execution, what exactly it is doing? Okay, so it is carrying out the flow, what exactly it has to be done. Okay, so that flow control, it can be either in the sequential way or the concurrent way. Okay, if it is for the sequential systems, sequential means one after the other. If I ask you to stand in the line for some purpose, so one after the other only you have to keep moving. That means at a time only one flow is going on. But concurrent systems, concurrent flow control means how? So when I ask you to say 50 strength is there, when I ask you 1 to 10, 10 in each row and simultaneously to do the some work, what might be assigned for you. So that will be more than one flow control, concurrent, parallelly it's happening. Okay, so and more than one thing can take place at a time. Here only one can take at a time. Here more than one can take at a time. So more than one flow control can be taken at a time. So under flow control, you just remember two things: sequential systems and concurrent systems. Sequential means one flow control only. Concurrent systems, multiple flow control. Okay. So then just moving on to the next one, that is about classes and events. So when we were talking about processes and threads, it's nothing but an active object. Okay, so what is an active object? It's nothing but the instance of an active class, and based on whatever the event triggered on that active object, or if any initiation of that object is there, or any operation is performed through this object, so that is a flow control. Now it will be transferred into using that active object. It will be done using a process or thread. Okay, so the next one is about the standard elements. Standard elements is nothing but a process and a thread. So the same definitions what we have learned. Okay, so process is a heavy weighted flow that can execute concurrently with other processes. Say maybe you are executing one program. At the same time you are doing some query. Okay, and the other way you are retrieving something from the database, or you are checking your mail. So each one is a process there. Okay, but whereas thread, maybe when you are executing the program, so that program may have n number of threads. Maybe if you are talking about retrieving, okay, or in that you are calling some packages, you are calling some other functions. Okay, so each call, it will be a thread within the process. So thread definition is nothing but lightweight flow that execute concurrently with other threads, along with the other threads, where within the same process, within one process only we'll have number of threads. So that's why we are writing threads within the same process. Okay, so then how the communication or the interaction is done between these processes and threads. So processes and threads is the next step, or which is carried out as flow control with respect to objects. Okay, so here the object which is under a process or a thread, we call it as active object, and an object which is not in the current situation under the execution, then we call it as passive object. Active object is the one which is under execution. Passive is not is the object which is not under execution. So here when we are talking about both passive and active objects, when we are talking about passive and active objects, say suppose when we have two inputs, so the truth table, how we can write 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So similarly here we have active and passive. So how many possible communications you will have here? 4 you will have, since two inputs. Okay, so let's see each one. So likewise we have 4 possible communications here. 4 possible combination of interactions are there between these two objects. So moving on to the first one, a message may be passed from one passive object to another. So when one passive object to other means, so which is not active when it is communicating. Okay, so I am sending a mail to your inbox. So what is that flow control? It is only one flow control, single flow control. So that is the communication between passive object, and the second one can be anything. Okay, and the second one is between the active object and the other. Okay, so there is one active object which have to be communicated, okay, within the system. So there comes the concept of inter-process communication. Why? Because this is an active object. Active object is under execution and it can be used for any kind of execution, or it can be used in any process or any number of threads. So that's why we call it as, whenever the interaction is done or a message is passed from active object to other, then we call it as inter-process communication. Okay, so for this there is an example given here. So here that is a synchronization of the Blackboard object knowledge source and Blackboard controller. Okay, so here when you see the messages, so the knowledge source, and here you should make a note of these things. The last time when I was telling you this half arrow, okay, so full arrow or half arrow is nothing but a signal, but and these signals are also specifically given. Okay, so that is what, when it is an half arrow, it is nothing but asynchronization messages. Asynchronous, already I told you, need not be coordinated. Synchronization, it have to be synchronized, both should be online. Okay, chatting is synchronization, mailbox is asynchronization. So which is synchronized, we give full arrow here. If it is a signal asynchronous, we have to show it is the half arrow. Okay, so here with the knowledge source, as the signal has a hint, so the controller, Blackboard controller, whoever may be the presenter, will start initiating the messages or start teaching on the Blackboard, and this is a synchronization, yes or no? So the whoever is the presenter, when they are start writing on the Blackboard, so these two things have to be synchronized. The knowledge what he have is the content what he had, the presenter, and the presenter what he is writing should be coordinated on the Blackboard. So what I am writing, what I am teaching, it has to be coordinated. So that's why we say it as synchronized message. And place partial solution. So partial solution also can be placed on the Blackboard. So this is asynchronous. So asynchronous means the signal what we are giving, maybe talking partially or giving some of the details orally. Okay, so and this Blackboard controller, so this is also again a half arrow which is for the knowledge source. Okay, so you can just see the numbering here. First has a hint of knowledge source to the Blackboard controller, and then he places the partial solution on the board. And okay, and he starts initializing teaching on the Blackboard, and then after teaching some part of it, so again he starts searching for the knowledge source what we have learned for, and then he will evaluate, complete the topic what he was thinking of. Okay, so that's how we can talk about an active object communicating with any of the other objects. Okay, so then moving on to the third one, a message may be passed from an active object to passive object. So active to passive means so difficulty can be erased if more than one active object at a time. Okay, so why? Because so the flow control through one passive object. See, when you can take one concept at a time, if all the lecturers start teaching at a time for all the students, Okay, so it is something like what we say about active object to passive. Okay, when everyone start teaching, so many flow of controls is attacking for the passive object. So then there will be some problem. So that is, there need to be some synchronization of these flows very carefully. Okay, and then moving on to the fourth one, a message may be passed from passive object to active one. Okay, so this is have the semantics as active object passing among the active objects. Okay, so there is not much importance for this passive passing on the message to active one. Next topic is about synchronization. Okay, so when we have to synchronize, so the problem arises when more than one flow control is in one object at the same time. Okay, so when I say one flow control, only one line for streaming, one flow control, but having one object at the same time. More than one flow control is in one object at the same time. Okay, so if we are not careful about this, so more than one flow control will interfere with other. Okay, so there may be some collision or some destruction or collapsing. So anything can happen which is corrupting the entire state of the object. So this is what we call it as critical problem of mutual exclusion. Critical problem of mutual exclusion. Okay, and you have studied this mutual exclusion problem in OS, if you remember. So what is the solution for this mutual exclusion problem? It's nothing but by maintaining the critical regions. So you say that this is the region where only one flow control is allowed. This is the region where two concurrent flow controls are allowed. So that is the solution you can give in order to make the system work properly. So in this scenario, we have three kinds of alternatives to this approach. So what are the three kinds of alternatives for this approach? So first one is about just following the sequential order. Okay, so one after the other. Okay, and still if you want to go for multiple flow of control, so the integrity or the semantics, it may not be guaranteed. Okay, whereas guarded is something where based on some condition the flow control is allowed. Okay, so guarded in presence of multiple flow control by sequentializing all calls to the object guarded operation. Okay, so based on the condition, the flow control is allowed. Okay, and based on concurrent, so these are the things which will happen parallelly. So that means it's nothing but the presence of multiple flow control and treating each flow control as atomic, single one. Okay, so these are the three different approaches for critical region problem. Okay, so the classical approach problem we have come across using mutual exclusion, and this mutual exclusion, for this problem we can give the solution by using critical region, and this critical region solution can be given in three approaches: either following just single line, following with some condition, or just taking multiple flows in the concurrent way, treating each flow as independent, atomic, which cannot be further divided. Okay, so the next one, so the example given for here, the synchronization buffering. Okay, so add and remove. So in order to add and remove, so these are the synchronization properties, the constraints what we say. So based on this constraint, so add operation is done. Based on this constraint, so remove operation is done. So that those are the synchronization properties here. The constraint what we impose on a particular operation when they have to be implemented, they are called as synchronization properties. And then moving on to process views. So already I was telling you about view. So view is something in what perspective you are looking at things. See, the general example of view I was telling you, looking at a building, front view, back view, top view. So that is what, in what angle, in what perspective, in which direction you are looking at. So that is a view. So here when we say a process view, in order to do a process, so in that perspective view of the system, so it's having the threads and processes, and that forms the system concurrency and synchronization mechanisms. Okay, so that is the emphasis what we can see in the process views. And then this is about the first part. So moving on to the second part, that is modeling, common modeling techniques. So under common modeling techniques, we have two common modeling techniques. The first one is about modeling multiple flow of control. So by seeing the heading itself, you should make out modeling multiple flow of control means it's nothing but concurrent flow of control or parallel flow of control. So in order to do that, what are the things we need to take care of? So concurrent actions and rectify each flow as active class. And you have to balance the responsibilities among those active classes. And then you have to make static decisions in the class diagram, and those decisions can be showed in the class diagrams. And the decisions which are dynamic behavior, so that can be showed in the interaction diagrams. And we need to pay attention based on the communication among the objects. So whether it is passive to other or active to other, or active to passive or passive to active. Okay. So and then the synchronizations and their collaboration and how they are interacted. Okay. So by focusing on these points, so let's see some example here. So process view of trading system. In a trading system, so here we are taking different objects. So everything is a object here, but few objects are with bold and few objects are which are not bold. So the objects which are bold, we say them as active objects. The objects whose outline is not bold, we call them as just as an object. Okay. So when I say stock ticker posting some value to analyst, so that means active object communicating with passive object. And when from analyst it is moving to alert manager, so that means passive object communicating to active. And this is between active to active, active to active, and passive to active, and active object to passive object. So in this scenario, what exactly is happening here? So first the stock ticker instance, yes, is posting a value to the analyst. Okay, and analyst will post an alert to the manager. And the index watcher is posting some value. Maybe in stocking, no, you might be checking what is the stock value of, maybe if at all you have invested. So in that scenario, you can just keeping that scenario in mind, you can relate the things here. Okay, so based on the stock ticketer, so the analyst, he is informing the manager, and whoever is a watcher, whoever is using, so he will post some value, and by analyzing, he will communicate to the manager. So this is internal one. So this is what you get the data from external one to the alert manager. And based on the messages he got from the stock ticketer and based on from index watcher, he will communicate to the trading manager. He will communicate to the trading manager, whatever the details he got from both the analysis. So he will analyze based on these two, and that message is transferred to the trading manager. And CNN news feed. So in the news you will may be getting about the stock news, right? So that stock news is based from trading manager. So based on whatever the information is given by the trading manager, so that will be popping up in the news. So that's why the news channels are depending on, not depending, interacting with the trading manager. Is that clear? So how exactly the inter-process communication is happening? So whatever the news you are seeing in the news channels, so this is internally it's happening. So whoever is the internal to the system, he will analyze, and when he is analyzing who are active, passive objects and how they are communicating, and from the outside, whoever is the investor, so from that also they will take the news, and that is given to the trade manager, and whatever the information the trade manager is giving, so that will be communicated to the news channels. So that is what we can say about inter-process communication. Okay, so the next common modeling technique. So this is what we were talking about. So inter-process communication, there are two approaches. Okay, so the second one, so second common modeling technique is about inter-process communication. Okay, so this example is for the first one only. Second common modeling technique is inter-process communication. So inter-process communication, there are two approaches. So first one is message passing and the second one is remote procedure calls. Message passing is nothing but the interaction what we were talking about, the four interactions between active and passive objects. And remote procedure calls. So this is done, which is globally done, the procedure calls based on the synchronous or asynchronous events what they are performed. Keeping in this two approaches in mind, so let's see the details of this common modeling technique. So in order to perform inter-process communication, so what are the things we need to take care of, or what knowledge we need to have prior before modeling inter-process communication? So these two approaches are the first key points. And then multiple flow of control. So what are the different multiple flow of control it is taking? And the communication between active objects represents the processes, and which represents the threads in turn. And we can distinguish them by giving appropriate stereotypes. So just like active class, stereotype process, stereotype thread we can give. Okay, and based on the second one for remote procedure calls, so it can be based, the calls can be based on some signal. So that signal can be either asynchronous communication or synchronous communication. Okay, so here sending messages is asynchronous communication. So this is the one example I was telling you about mailbox. You can send some message to your friend. So it may not be coordinated. Later, whenever he logins, he'll check. So that is what asynchronous communication. Whereas remote procedure calls, when you want to, just an example I'm giving, when you want to communicate over the phone, so both have to be coordinated, synchronized. Both have to be connected through the signal. So that is what asynchronous communication. So remember here, inter-process communication, two things, message passing and remote procedure calls. Message passing is asynchronous and remote procedure calls is synchronous. Okay, so here the example given for this one is a distributed reservation system. Distributed reservation system. So this one you can talk about some reservation, ticket reservation or such example, keeping that example so we can relate to this diagram. So here trip planner. So trip planner is an active object and it is a process. And here we are giving the constraint also. What it is, trip planner is a client, the user who is going to plan for his trip. Okay, so whenever he log in, so an object will be created which is active. And when you book, so it will go to reservation agent. And this reservation agent is again a process. These are the internal flow controls, what is happening based on the active objects. And here what is the location? Reservation server. So the server can be present anywhere and that it is named as reservation server. Client here is nothing but the user who is using that system. And this is the server. Okay, wherever the ticket planner, if he is booking, so it is taken care of our active object. And once the reservation is intimated to that server, so from this server, so asynchronous message, asynchronous means sending some message to the hotel agent, need not be calling as synchronized one, but they can just give the message into their mailbox as asynchronous message saying that, so checking for whatever the reservation is we're asking whether it is present or not. So that process based on the signal, whatever the message you might have sent, so it is sent to the hotel agent. And not only that, ticketing manager. Okay, ticketing manager is nothing but, so the tickets, how you travel and all that will be taken care here. And where you stay and all, it will be taken care in hotel agent. Okay, so and all these, either a ticket planner or reservation agent, all these processes which are maintained by using Corba ORB. Okay, so you know already, so this Corba we can say it as middleware to develop a distributed application. So distributed application is nothing but client server applications, right? Or maybe either it can be 2-tier or 3-tier or n-tier we can say. Okay, so this will act as a middleware for the distributed applications. And we call this ORB as object request broker. Okay, which will be acting as a middleware for this client server applications. And for whatever they were asking, so those details will be given to the hotel servers and the airline servers. And finally, the reservation agent will respond, post results to the ticket planner, whether what he have planned is actively done or not. If no ticket or no hotel reservation, so the same thing can be communicated to the ticket planner. And in turn, it will be given to the client. And this is all what we are talking is nothing but internally it's happening. That's what we say inter-process communication. And all these are active objects. And all these are under execution when immediately the client logins to some site where he wants to plan his trip. Okay, so and communicates across Beams message services. Okay, so this is what it is carried out through online. So these are the topic what I wanted to cover today. So this is about processes and threads class.